You want to do that one?
I'd like to call to order the school board meeting. Okay. Is there any considerations of relations?
Nope.
Stand, face the flag. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Move on to our school board meeting.
Yes, we have a special night tonight. Usually we just have two students of the month, but tonight we're going to have 4 that we will recognize tonight. So both Sweetser and Swayze students of the month will be recognized tonight.
Okay. My first guest is Emma McGriff, if you'll come stand by me. Emma is in 4th grade. Mrs. Helfrich nominated her for Student of the Month, and the write-up about Emma, Mrs. Helfrich states, Emma McGriff is kind, thoughtful, helpful, and hardworking. She consistently demonstrates wonderful character traits in the hallways, specialist classes, and in the lunchroom. Her positive attitude and respectful behavior shine through in every setting, creating a warm and uplifting atmosphere for both students and staff. It's truly a joy to see her brighten the school environment each day. So this will be the write-up and the corporation letter, but a copy of it for you. And then I have a certificate for you to keep.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Can I take your picture?
Can I take a picture with
That's perfect.
I never got one of those.
Good thing she may take out your mom.
See Andy surprised up there, huh?
I had also a 3rd grade student of the month, Silas Owen. Mrs. Cox nominated him. Silas always has a positive attitude. I never see anything but a smile on his face. He works very hard and is always willing to go above and beyond. He's a great friend to all, and he's always willing to help another student. He sets a great example for those around him. So that was my 3rd grade student of the month. If he shows up, I'll redo that one. We won't tell him. And then my staff member of the month was Mrs. Fagan, and she was nominated. She has been to our math trainings. We have new math curriculum. She's been one of our 4th grade train the trainer, so she'll go to the trainings and then come back and train her staff. She's also helped the 3rd grade a little bit with learning some of the things with the new math program. Project Lead the Way, which is our science curriculum. We had 5 teachers last year. We're down to 4. She was willing to take that extra unit on and learn it and teach it to all the 4th graders because they do a rotation. So she initiated that, took that on. If you heard about our egg drop competition where the fire department came, she facilitated that and had them come do like a 70-foot drop with the egg drop, and that was super cool for the kids. So she was been doing great things, and we're proud of her. So that is our people of the month. Thank you.
All right, now Mrs. Collins, principal at Swayze Elementary, will come and introduce.
Mrs. Collins is honest. She's a little antsy. It's not really my mom.
That's okay.
Hey, you're here. So, all right, Dylan, come here so I can say really nice things about you.
By the way, I forget that some of the kids don't always know why they're here, and so I have a hard time remembering that each month, and I think I've spoiled it now 2 months in a row.
That's good. Okay. Your mom is a great secret keeper then. All right. Dylan consistently, this is Dylan Price. This is our 5th grade student of the month. Dylan consistently demonstrates respect and kindness toward both adults and classmates. He is quick to lend a helping hand without being asked, showing a level of thoughtfulness and maturity that makes a big difference in our school community. In the classroom, Dylan gives his best effort by listening attentively, following directions, and completing his assignments with care. He also contributes meaningfully to class discussions, bringing insight and positivity that enrich the learning experience for everyone. Your teacher really thinks you. Dylan makes teamwork look effortless. Even when challenges arise, he approaches them with determination and a growth mindset, always putting his best foot forward. His willingness to embrace challenges coupled with his positive attitude makes him a true asset to our classroom family. Isn't that nice? That's for you, sir. You gotta stay here because you have to have your picture taken. Dr. Hartman's not gonna be
I
able to
know.
Perfect. All right, John. You're up.
He's super excited.
That looks so excited. Our 6th grade student of the month, who is very happy to be here, I can tell, is John Smelzer. John consistently demonstrates kindness, respect, and positivity toward everyone he encounters. He treats both classmates and teachers with genuine care and a cheerful attitude, setting a shining example for others to follow. John goes above and beyond to encourage his peers, offering support and uplifting words that bring out the best in those around him and help create a welcoming, supportive classroom community. His thoughtfulness, respect, and encouragement make him stand out not only as a role model, but also as a true leader and a friend. We are proud to recognize John for the difference he makes each day in our school. Congratulations, John, on this well-deserved honor. You inspire us all. All those nice things about you. Perfect.
If you don't want to stick around, you're more than welcome to leave.
No offense, I guess we're all getting out of here. Yeah. Come here, Morgan. Come here.
Jax, you're leaving? See you later. Good job, Jack. See you tomorrow, John.
Good job, John.
Good job, John.
Do it again, you can do it next month.
I got
Poor
a
guy.
text from Mrs. Do you care if I share this?
No. I already told him myself, so.
I got a text from Mrs. Collins yesterday. She's like, I royally screwed up. It was like, oh gosh, what? She goes, I thought it was my student of the month this month, and both of them are coming. I said, well, that's easy, thanks. I like that. I said, if that's the worst screw up we have, the week before fall break, we are golden.
I'm disappointed I used my one on a Sunday.
That is true, that is true. But if it starts, that's, like I said, if that's the worst thing that happens this week. A few other things I noted in our celebrations, just to kind of make everybody aware of, our Oak Hill boys soccer team. They were runner-up in the sectional championship over the weekend. Our Oak Hill girls soccer team won the sectional championship. It's their 3rd year in a row to do that. And then our Oak Hill girls volleyball team won the CIC conference for the 2nd year in a row and the Grant 4 championship for the 3rd year in a row. So right now, our girls are doing pretty well. Hopefully they can continue this week. Our girls soccer team plays regional play against Delta on Thursday at home at 6 p.m. If you guys need tickets or anything, let me know. I haven't sent that email out yet today, and I'm supposed to. It's on my to-do list, so I'll make mention of it, and I'll remind me to send that out. So
Jim looked really good for the volleyball.
yes, that was
Breast
nice. I don't know
cancer
if you guys.
awareness, and so it was all about pink and
Yeah, they did a good job with that. They had a dig pink on Saturday for the Grant 4, and it was really cool. They did a lot of preparation for that, so that was neat. All right, we will head back up to our second preliminary determination hearing for our project.
So, secondary preliminary determination hearing. From the proposed project, if you're interested in speaking at the hearing, please make sure you have signed the sign sheet. I don't see anybody out there that's really interested. But after the presentation by the administration and its advisors, there'll be an opportunity for public to make comments about the project. I ask that you keep your comments to 3 minutes on the topic limited to the proposed project under consideration. The notice of this preliminary determination hearing was published as legally required. The first preliminary determination hearing was held on September 8th, 2025. At this time, I'll ask Superintendent Hardman to explain the purpose of this hearing.
Pursuant to Indiana Code 6-1.1-20-3.5, a school corporation must hold 2 public hearings and adopt a resolution to preliminarily determine to issue bonds or enter a lease for a project which has a total project cost in excess of a non-controlled project, or if the school corporation has a debt service fund tax rate above a certain amount. These public hearings and adoption of resolutions are the very beginning of the legal process. These resolutions establish the maximum financial terms for the proposed project.
I will now hear from Dr. Hardman, Chris Kingery, and Walter about the process of determining the communication for the project, communicating the project to the community, and the need for the project.
All right, we discussed this a little bit last month at the first preliminary hearing, but Chris Kingery and Victor Landfair are here. Chris is with Gibraltar and Victor is with Skillman. We've been working pretty closely with both of them over the last almost 2 years now. When we first started talking with our facilities study that we did, kind of talking about the needs of our school corporation, and something that kept rising to the top probably daily was HVAC concerns. So we have started down that path to look at what it would be like to do a renovation of our schools with the HVAC, the heating, ventilation, and air conditioning, to have those replaced in each of our schools. So with that, I'll let Chris go ahead and kind of talk a little bit, remind us.
I don't know why I always stand back here, but it seems like the perfect spot.
That is the camera now too, so just so you're aware. If you- There you go, there you go. Maybe right there, there you go.
6 inches left.
Dr. Hardman, thank you for having me this evening. As you stated, we'll go over the projects and the process to get us to this point, and then Victor will speak on behalf of Skillman, talk about the timing, the next steps, and the cost associated with these projects. So as you've mentioned, if we go to the next slide, this decision was not rushed. You can keep going a little bit forward. We did start our journey together in October of 22, so we're approaching a 3-year anniversary of our time together, and we've done small things, we've done and planned for big things. And if you remember when we went through the process of getting staff input and then starting to develop a master plan for Oak Hill, we also went through a prioritization process. And so looking at staff input and then also working with the board, landed on the projects that we're bringing forward today. As you mentioned, we went in detail last month, but we'll still cover it and see if there's any other questions. And then moving forward to where we started this journey in 2025 was bringing forward these projects that were not only going to provide some comfort and controls in the classrooms and the learning environments, but is also going to be an ease on your operating costs as you produce more efficient HVAC solutions, and also easier to manage for Mr. Pond moving forward. So if you go ahead to the next slide. One of the big things that we've been working with districts is starting to get on that cycle of need, because you think of, you can get into a place as a district where everything is reactive and you're just putting out fires. And it's hard to, for, Ms. Goris to come up with a plan from year to year when you are chasing fires. And so the idea of doing this major HVAC lift for all of your buildings was to get them on a cycle of needs so that you don't have to address that. Then going into some major mechanical and operational needs, some functional improvements for that long range planning, and then know that everything that we're bringing forward is master rooted in that staff input, and then also the facility study that was completed by our engineers and architects. If you go to what are the main things being accomplished, the mechanical updates, so the replacing the unit ventilators in the classroom and also improving the air quality, the temperature control system update that will operate those systems, and then replacing non-functional rooftop exhaust systems at other buildings as well. If you go to the next, perfect. We can start right there at Converse Elementary. This is a placeholder. On the right side, you see all the considerations of the things that are happening. Some of them are you'll see, and other things you will not see, but things that need to happen when you do a project like this. But we show this visual to make sure that we represent. It's replacing everything in the building. So every part of the building is going to be touched by this with an HVAC upgrade at Converse. And then going into Swayze, Same thing again, you can see all of the areas that will be impacted by this in the classroom setting. Going into Sweetser Elementary, same thing, touching all of the learning environments in the classrooms as well. Same solution, just different building, and then looking into the junior high as well. This goes into, we also want to add in there, we have established the baseline of what the priorities are, but there's also some alternates built into this, and specifically the junior high, some rooftop equipment at the high school above cafeteria in the main gym, and then some alternates to replace some domestic water distribution there. So we want to make sure you accomplish your big rocks, and then we will look at the budget for those alternates. And then moving into the high school, same solution that we've talked about, but replacing at the high school as well. And then going into an overview of our schedule, which I will let Victor talk through the schedule if you'd like.
Well, tonight's the second of two hearings, public hearings required by statute, and then there's approximately a 30-day petition period. So we won't do much in that time period, but assuming your success and your community supports it, be able to start yet this fall. We haven't identified our bidding schedule yet, but I guess my goal would be to do that sometime in the next spring. We want to try to get those bids early in the year if we can. And then that will ultimately drive a couple things. One is that we want to make sure that this whole project being based on mechanical will be all driven based on when we can get the mechanical equipment delivered to the site. So there's no use disrupting classrooms and then sitting around waiting for equipment. So once we have nailed down those equipment delivery times, which can be as much as 12 to 16 weeks, we will then start construction. So I anticipate we could take easily a year to complete this project. Unless you're able to move all your students somewhere else and we can do all the work without occupied buildings, that's probably not an option. So we'll have to work around occupancy, displaced students, staff as little as possible and try to accomplish all that work. But I warn you, we'll be able to do it all in the summer. So we'll have to find a way to do that as least invasive to your educational program as possible. So we'll be able to come back to you later this fall, winter, and give you a more detailed plan once we sort of roll up our sleeves and ensure that the project's a go. And then the maximum dollar value that we've set aside for this project is $25 million. If you saw on several of Chris's slides, we've identified alternates. So if you will, we have a base core project, and then other needs if the district so chooses and the bids are favorable and your financing is favorable. We have a number of needs. As most school corporations we work with, your needs far exceed your financial capacity. So that's not unusual. So we'll want to make sure and get the biggest bang for your buck and within what you can afford. So a lot more updates as we move ahead with the project in terms of preliminary estimates, so that the board is well aware of the dollars we anticipate spending in the bids timing before we request bids.
So Maddie was not able to be here tonight. She was going to make the trip, and I told her, I got this. I think I can. She's done this enough. We talked enough that I could help do this, so she didn't have to make the trip tonight, since she did last month and went into pretty detail before this. But this shows our current debt service right now for Oak Hill schools. As you can see there, down at the bottom, the different colors show the different bonds and loans that we have, or leases that we have out. You'll notice those fall off as they go into the further into the years. And so our plan is to look at doing, this was from the first one. Our plan was to look at doing a $25 million project, and then this is what our financing would look like after that. The reason they established a maximum for us, because some of the criteria we had when we met with these guys and we started this process, is that we knew we had debt falling off, but we wanted to basically keep that debt level. We did not want to do a project that was going to increase our levy or our tax rates a significant amount so that the people in our community would feel that. We wanted to be able to do a project that would keep that level status quo there. So as you can see here, this particular project, this is how that would affect our debt service moving forward. So it'd be for about the next 22, I think, years is what the notice says. We would have a maximum levy amount that we would have in our debt service each year that we would pay to support this project.
Anybody sign up for the
Yep.
participation? Would anyone else out there like to speak?
I do have a question, if I could. As we move forward and get very real with this, some people are going to complain about this. What do we say to them? How do we address it why are you spending this much? Why are you doing all of this at once? What's a good way to work with them to help them understand that this is the best project that we're getting? Like, how do we address those concerns when people bring them to us?
Victor explained the strategy on the scope that was selected, and then I'll talk about from the staff standpoint.
Scott heard me speak a few weeks ago. I think that when economic times are challenging, you have to, as a school corporation, focus on keeping students safe, warm, and dry. And I think this project falls into that category of warm or keeping them comfortable. You have mechanical systems. In order to operate school, those mechanical systems have to operate. They have to keep everyone comfortable. They have to have adequate fresh air. And if they don't work, you can't have school. So I think that in terms of the systems that we prioritized are based on that fundamental thing. And we basically have systems that are meeting their life cycle. And if you don't take care of them, they're going to quickly become a very expensive repair.
The other piece I'll add to that from the strategy standpoint is you do one building in isolation, you don't get the economy of scale as if you were to do it across multiple buildings. And then plus the ease on your maintenance, because then you're running different systems until all of the schools can come online. And so this is an opportunity that you could say you were paying less for the unit because you were buying so many units versus just doing an isolation. Now, from a staff standpoint, Spillman is asked about phasing it, like he had mentioned, about the least disruptive pathway to, a finished product. And so they work directly with the principal about the schedule and the phasing. And then we will plan on doing a staff meeting before the project starts so that we take some of the pressure off of the building principal and the superintendent to explain what are the projects, when is it happening, how does it impact me, what can I expect, and all of those different factors, because we've learned if we don't give them information, they'll seek information or create information. We want to make sure that this feels like they know what the end goal is. They know that there'll be a short-term inconvenience, but there's going to be a long-term gain of some things that have been kind of probably interrupted to their learning environment for some years, that we'll be able to take that away. So we'll be very transparent with the staff prior to the project starting.
No, thank you. I appreciate it because I can see some people, why don't you do one building instead of all of them? I can see some of those complaints coming about. So,
and I think the other part of the message that we need to make sure that everybody understands is that obviously HVAC, like you mentioned, it's critical in being able to provide, an environment for our kids just to be able to focus on learning. But on the other side of it, we are hoping to do it in a manner financially that allows us not to raise taxes. I know some of the schools in our area are facing some, difficult and challenging times, just like we are when it comes to finances. And the approach and process we are working through right now allows us to borrow that money basically for this specific project, and then it not affect kind of that debt service in a negative way for our taxpayers. So I think that's the other part of the message that needs to be, delivered along with what Chris and Victor also shared today. I feel like as a board, you guys have done a lot of really good things over these last few years to get our debt to where it is manageable and something we can do, like a project like this. We've had, like I said, quite a bit of debt falling off and we've paid it off, which then will allow us to kind of enter into, you know, a bigger project like this that is so critical in us being able to keep our buildings, you know, from, you know, not working the way we want. And I know Troy deals with this daily, but right now our buildings are costing us a tremendous amount in utilities, and you know, our electrical bill is outrageous, you know, just to heat and cool our buildings right now. And so our hope with this big project is bringing in a new system will also, you know, help alleviate that and get that under control right now. He's also having to repair our current units daily. I know I saw a bill the other day for a new motor for one. So we're talking thousands of dollars a month that we are putting back into our old system. So on the other side of it, I think you have to pick your poison there as far as, do you continue to put into our old system, or do we, you know, make that move to new systems around the schools?
Yeah, I think that's a good thing to tell people, because visually someone's going to drive by and see nothing, you know, it's going
Well, they
to
won't.
look like we did nothing and dumped all the.
It's $25 million.
Exactly, but having these good conversations with people and saying, no, we didn't spend it on nothing, this is a mission critical piece, so I think that's going to be important as we move forward.
In the HVAC, if you remember back to the input from staff, it was definitely one of those big rocks that kind of came forth.
Well, and I think we just did that pool project with the dehumidification system, and they've had that up and running for about a month now. And I feel like that has made a significant difference with humidity in that part of the building, which I'm thinking will obviously help with some of the HVAC issues they're having. But, you know, we're trying to make responsible steps, you know, to get our buildings where we want them and need them to be to provide a good environment for our kids.
So they can keep being winners.
Yeah, well, let's hope.
Yeah.
Let's hope. So, okay, last thing, with no public comment here, the last thing that we would need to do is adopt the preliminary determination resolution. And basically what that resolution is an outline of exactly what we talked about today. It explains the purpose of the project, how the project's going to be financed, the maximum amount that project would cost us. It talks about the 2 hearings that we've had on this. Then it also, you know, talks about our current debt and then what the future debt would look like with this project and this lease. So you can see here, our current debt service is $3.3 million. The max this project would take it each year would be to $3.5 million, so it stays relatively the same. And then it gives us a maximum amount for the project of $25,525,000. And then you can see down here, this is what our estimated tax rate would look like over the next 10 years here. This also, again, was mentioned by Victor. This basically, by adopting this today, you start that 30-day process of, you know, letting the taxpayers know that this is a project that we are looking to do in the future. This is how much it's going to cost. This actual notice will be, after tonight, will be published in the Chronicle Tribune on Wednesday. So it'll allow that
30
starts
days
that
from Wednesday.
from Wednesday, yeah. So that starts that timeline of 30 days. So if somebody were not in favor of it, then they would take out a petition and get the needed signatures to basically let us know that that was not something that they'd be in favor of. We need approval for this resolution.
Motion and a second to adopt the preliminary determination resolution.
So, you take it.
Copy. All those, have any discussions anymore?
I would just say I appreciate all the hard work that's been done so far by everybody that's involved.
And just the fact that we're doing everything with a master study is very intentional. I think we've been intentional for a couple of years now, but have really paid some dividends.
All those in favor, raise your hand. 5-0.
So that will close out our second preliminary determination hearing. And so we won't see you guys for a little while.
After the wait period is successful, what you will see from us is we will return and have a design schedule. And during that design schedule, we will provide updates because we also have checkpoints with Skillman where they will redo estimating to make sure that we are tracking in the right direction. And then also make sure that Mr. Pond and the principals are part of that evolution of the process as well, so that they can see the result.
Thank you guys.
All right, thank you guys very much.
Wish everyone a great fall break.
Can you believe it's already fall break?
It is hard to say.
Well, true. I know, I need to, we have to get through this week, so.
Thanks, Chris. Nice to see you guys.
You as well.
All right, on to public participation. We have none signed up for public participation tonight, so on to the consent agenda. In your folder were the minutes from last month, the claims for the month of September. And then on to personnel, we have resignations listed there. Luckily, not very many. Appointments, looking at substitute, Mr. Johnson for JV girls basketball coach, Logan Wagner for another substitute. So. And then internal transfers, we have our elementary secretary at Swayze moving over to our nurse position for the elementary. And then we have April Key moving from substitute teacher to our Swayze elementary secretary. And then the only adjustments that we have this month for personnel is Patricia Adkins is currently the substitute teacher. We're just adding on a couple things for her to also help out with as in the substitute role. Our donations listed there, an anonymous donor donated to our ag department. And that is all for the consent agenda.
Just an announcement, fall play is November 14th and 15th. If you guys would like to come, let me know. A lot of pre-sale tickets, but I would be glad to comp a ticket for anybody that wants to come. It's a fun company.
You say 14th or 15th?
14th and 15th at 7 p.m.
Yeah, I'll let you know what date. I'm not sure.
Yep.
I'll have to check.
Complaint Department and Lemonade. It's a fun little comedy.
So I have to check with Stephanie and I'll let you know.
Got to check with the boss first.
So that's exactly right.
Anything else on the consent agenda?
Not need a motion. Second.
So moved.
Second. Justin. All those in favor, raise your hand. 5-0.
All right, on to continuing business. Our many NEOLA policies that we are updating right now. We have kind of all tackled those at some point. Everybody's taking a look at the ones that affect them the most. And right now, we do not have any changes compared or from last month to this month. So next month will be our actual approval of these policies. So just tonight, it's just something that we need to just to have on that we're reviewing them again, going through them just to make sure that.
Can we approve those next month? Individually?
No, you know, you can do them all.
Right.
And they're considered at the top, you can see their volume 27, number 2. So you can do them as a complete.
Ms. Pickering was worried about the length of the meeting.
Yeah.
No. Worried about how smooth.
Yeah.
Nope, you do not have to worry about that. So on to new business, approve the 2026 budget in the to this. Last month, we had our budget hearing where Chris went into depth, kind of in the different areas of our budget. We looked at debt service a little bit, but more so we spent a lot of time on education operations fund, sharing kind of the difference from last year, this year, which there are some definite areas that we have to be very mindful of this upcoming year. So this is what our 2026 budget will look like.
Need a motion, not a second.
So moved.
Second. Anybody have any questions or concerns about that?
I do have a question. When does it have to be submitted to the DLGF?
We have to do it within,
5 days.
yeah, is it 5 days after we approve it? So this
I knew it was a quick one, but I wasn't sure exactly.
And November 1st is the last.
a very deadline.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was asking.
So we will.
So we're well within it.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we will go there.
Thank you, Chris, for all the hard
Oh,
work you
yeah.
put in on this. I mean, you came in late to this cycle and it's come together beautifully.
Now we just need to be very vigilant about keeping to it. That's gonna be the tricky part. Next on the agenda is to approve the, oh, I'm sorry.
Wait a second.
Little presumption. Sorry.
All those in favor, right hand?
There you go.
All right. Next on the agenda is the approval of the bus replacement plan. Again, last month, I know Chris went into depth a little bit. No big plans right now to buy any buses. We are still required to submit a plan that basically outlines, if we did need to replace buses, what that would look like. With buses now, budgeting at $140,000 compared to just 5 years ago. I think I bought a bus for 88, brand new
Right.
bus. So it is a little crazy right now. We're trying to really, and Troy probably can expand on this a little bit, but do all we can to keep our buses running and in kind of good shape so that we can hopefully avoid having to purchase a bus this year. We do have a bus, SAV bus that we are waiting on, that we have been told hopefully February.
Well, we were told August.
I
and
know.
then we were told, well, maybe September. So you're here in February now?
Well, that's what,
Because I haven't heard that from you yet.
well, Lucas came and
Oh,
told me
they
that
must have
it's
told you.
about a year out from when we ordered it. So
It's just
So our-
crazy.
we are running basically ragged on 2 SAVs right now.
Yeah. I'm glad we're not waiting on a kidney. 'Cause
Yeah. Yeah. So our third SAV is the only new bus that we have any plans on getting in the near future. And like I said, he told me, Lucas last told me January, February before we probably would see that. Which will be very much needed, especially by spring. Our spring sports are really crazy. So this is the bus replacement plan for.
So you have a motion and a second. Second. All those in favor, right hand?
All right, next on the agenda is the capital projects plan. And Chris kind of shared a little bit again last month about this and how it's set up. What we've noticed about our capital projects plan is it's included the same information for the last few years. So we do have, if you want to see there, some different things listed here that, looking forward, we will need to address. I know one thing that is not on here is our field out of the football field. That is something too that I think we'll have to at some point take a look at replacing. Hopefully we can hold off at least 2 or 3 more years on that. So this is our capital projects plan.
Need a motion and a second.
So moved.
Second. All those in favor, right hand? 5-0.
All right, and then last on the agenda, we're saving the best for last here, is just to review, the state made changes this year that we are no longer required to upload and submit our school improvement plans to the state. But what we talked about as an admin team is obviously we're going to continue monitoring ours and looking at where our goals were last year. How did we come to basically meeting them? And what does the future look like for us? So we'll start with our little eagles at Converse.
Not a whole lot of changes that are made because it's a 23 to 26 plan. So we're working the plan, continually working that. Just a couple of changes that were added into the plan, and that was just updating data from iRead from this year. And iLearn, even though it's not our building data, it's still our data, if that makes sense. So those things are in there. So I've added that for on this slide, spring of 25, we were at 63% pass on iRead for second grade. And that was also, with that summer school initiative that we had. So we were feeling pretty good about that score, sending them on to Sweetser with 63% of them having passed iRead. So we're continuing to work that plan. There's some new things that, we're always trying to tweak what we're doing to try to improve, and we've seen that data increase. So we're going to continue to try to improve things. That was that one. This one, we had all goals met on this one specifically for last school year. So again, we are continuing with our interventions with our MTSS meetings, making sure that we're meeting needs of students so that we can continue to see this proficiency rate on our DIBELS data, which is the dynamic indicators of basic early literacy skills. As we continue to work on those specific interventions, we see the student data continue to increase, and that's a pretty good indicator of how they're going to do on iRead. So that's something that we're constantly monitoring. Attendance, the state made things pretty tricky for us last year, had some other hoops for us to jump through. It ended up actually being very, I felt like informative for families, and I felt like it gave us some really good parameters to help families understand why their kids needed to be in school. We had lots of meetings with families specifically about attendance, and that was really good. So I felt like last year our attendance drastically improved because of that. So we are continuing to work that plan this year, helping parents understand what it means when their kids miss, all of the pieces that they're missing, and just helping them understand why we have to make sure that if they are sick, they're needing to go to the doctor. We know it's hard to get into the doctor, but helping them understand the why. So that's the important thing. Just educating the families on that is really the big piece of that.
And I think with the state with making the changes at that level, it really helped us, basically say, hey,
absolutely,
it's not just Oak Hill, it's everybody.
It gave us more teeth.
Yeah, it did give us definitely more teeth.
Absolutely. And none of it's a gotcha for our families. And that was when we were able to sit down and explain that to families, I think it kind of took away some of those perceptions that they were just assuming, so we actually really enjoyed having those meetings to sit down with families. And then obviously we're always continuing to try to move forward with our technology and our instruction. And we actually had another initiative this past school year of help with meetings with parents to help them understand why they need to monitor what their students are on their technology. And that's kind of our focus right now, helping especially for our littlest kiddos, knowing that they have so much access to so many things on the internet, and helping parents understand that what we're using at school, we're utilizing it as a tool. So obviously we've been building inside our school, we've been making sure that the students know procedures and all of those things. But I think it's a really important piece to the education of the parents to help them understand how quickly that can go bad for their kids. So we had a few good meetings last year. We're hoping to have another one this semester, and then a follow-up second semester, just continuing to try to educate parents.
Something new too that these guys have worked really a lot with is we have a new, basically a software that monitors our kids' use of technology and then alerts them in real time, when maybe a child gets onto a site that they shouldn't. And now this new program that we started this year is called LineWise, but we have the parents can get on and do the same thing. So we just basically got that information and getting ready to send that out, making sure, kind of aligning it with parent-teacher conferences too, being able to share that information with parents. But I felt like in talking with more at the elementary level, I feel like we see maybe that monitoring and those alerts a little bit more than we do at the high school. And what I felt like is a little kind of scary to me at times is what it doesn't pick up always, because what kids are putting in is kind of innocent. But then
Or certain slang terms that it doesn't alert to.
Yeah.
That means that are awful.
Yeah.
Yes.
The big thing right now, I feel like, and Mrs. Collins can maybe elaborate on this a little bit, that in my mind is very scary, is the AI chat rooms.
Oh, it's terrifying.
So kids think, or you can converse back and forth.
They can pick a character. And the very first alert I got this year, I was at a football game, and one of my students had gotten onto this AI chat room, and she had typed that she was taken. And so it alerted to that. It takes a screenshot of that interaction now. So then when I got back to my computer and I started digging into it, there were 13 pages, I think, of this chat back and forth with this AI generated person. But she picks a character, she picks what this person looks like, and it prompts her then to put other stuff in, and it responds to whatever she has typed. And I was like, whoa, Nelly, like, Katie, bar the door. Haven't gotten any more of those, so maybe Brent got it blocked.
But that's what I feel like we're doing. We'll find something where like our security controls don't alert to it because it might not be bad until we find it, and then we can be like, okay, now we can block that. But it's like we're almost always kind of playing, 2 steps behind, because with just all the different ways to avoid.
But I think when we addressed the AI policy, was that last time with Neola, we didn't say no AI, because it's not going anywhere.
Yeah.
We cannot bury our heads in the sand. It's here to stay.
Yeah.
So addressing, even if we are 2 steps behind, we're addressing it when we can, and we're doing all we can to teach them, this is the world that you live in, this is the world your kids live in.
And in this case, this is a non-educational AI experience versus what we, want to use it for.
Yeah.
So it is, I feel like,
A big piece of, moving forward and what we're doing with technology in the classroom is educating our parents.
Yeah.
Because they don't understand the technological world their kids live in. And it's terrifying.
Especially if it's grandparents that are raising
Well,
them.
and that was what, in that case, it was grandparents, and the 2 that I've had this year have both been, it's either been a grandparent or much older aunt and uncle. And that has been part of the conversation, is that you are going to struggle to keep up technologically with where this child is at because of the age gaps.
Have we had any concerns? There have been some stories I've seen about AIs pushing towards suicide. Have we seen any of that?
Well, that was actually one of the things that she had typed in there.
Because I just read a story, it was an AI and
Yep.
it pushed a
That
kid
kept prompting him, and we do get an immediate alert if somebody types something like that.
Sure.
And what this new monitor is supposed to do, I don't know that we've had it happen yet. If somebody doesn't pick up on that and mark that it's done, that it's been dealt with, it's supposed to start a series of phone calls and call until it gets a live person to deal with that.
Good.
So,
and that was kind of what prompted us to move to this. Because you guys were, previously would get an alert at 3 in the morning, but it'd just go to your email, and it was just like, if you didn't check it.
Yeah.
So this has a little bit more timely ways to alert them. So. All right, Mrs. Switzer, what's your third?
My slideshow here is a running slideshow from the last couple of years. So I think it's like slide 3, maybe. It's the first one that has a graph. Right there. Okay. So I laid the format out differently versus paragraph form this year. And again, we're like following Converse. It's a 3-year plan, so it started in 2023. And we used our iLearn data, and our goal was to gain 5% each year with an overall growth of 15%, and the goal to be above the state average performance on our iLearn scores. So this one, 4th grade ELA data. So in 2023, the school had 28% in ELA, and then in 2024, we jumped up to 45%, beating the state average and exceeded the state average. And then we took a slight dip in 2025, but we're near target. And actually, so then in 2026, if we gain that 5% back, then we would meet our 15% growth for our goal each year. So that is 4th grade. Our next 3rd grade, I kept this goals very similar, so just different data based off that. So again, it shows you in 2023 our school data, and then what the state average was. So again, we kind of did it a little bit backwards in 3rd grade. We dipped down, but then we went back up. And again, if we grow a little more than that 5%, then we'll meet our goal. I think a lot of our attribute to our growth and our continuing to grow is we've had supplemental magnetic reading, our simplified writing program across Converse and Sweetser, and then that OG training has really helped gain the phonics skills that we've been missing. So I think that's been really helpful. Our next slide is math. We have a new math curriculum this year. So again, it's set up the same way to gain 5% each year, a total of 15% by the end of the 3 years. And it shows again, we had 43% proficiency rate in 2023. We stayed the same, and then we grew up to 50% last year. Last year was when I asked my teachers to look at the data and come up with just a small goal that would help us. And like 4th grade was multiplication, mastering multiplication, because you need that to do all of the other standards in 4th grade. So I was proud, we're gonna use the iLearn checkpoint data this year because that's new and that's what we need to use to drive our scores this year. But last year, my teachers were able to come up with a common goal, and we were able to meet the state average and not be below it, and I was proud of that. So. And then 3rd grade, same thing. We dipped below, but we stayed above the state average. So that was our updated data for the past 3 years.
How would you say now that you guys have had about a month to 2 months in using the new math curriculum, what are you feeling, seeing, hearing?
I have not seen our 6th grade checkpoint data yet. But our 5th grade checkpoint data, the state average was 30-some%, like low 30s of combined passing, so pass and above proficient. We were 61. Don't look at me like that.
How about parents?
You know, I have had a couple of parents who in a meeting have said, I don't understand this math. I can't help my kid with their homework. I'm like, then don't help them. Like, I don't want this to be a stress for you at home. We'll take care of it here at school. And I knew I was going to hear that.
We heard that was already too, though.
But so far, it's just been a couple of parents, and I think teachers knowing they were going to hear that going into it, and that they were going to feel that. Like, I really haven't heard any complaints, so I'll take it. Okay, I'm gonna skip that. All right, I put all mine on one because. So the top part up there is last year, kind of where we ended up at the end of the year. Our goal in ELA for 5th grade was 55%. We were 56%. The state average was 42, so we were well above. Sixth grade was 42% was our goal. We were 44%, so we achieved that and stayed above the state average there. Math, we met our goal in fifth grade. We were 1% below our goal for sixth grade. Not terrible, still made growth, but I like the win, so I was disappointed by that. I track our cohort though, so when you look at that number for fifth grade, you're going 38%, like what are you doing? Fourth grade last year, their passing rate was 38%, so that's where I have to start. So we are adding 5% to that to grow those kids to 43%. Hopefully they grow more than that, but I also have to be realistic. Same thing with sixth grade, that was fifth grade's data. We want them to achieve 61%. And if we can just keep doing that every year, pretty soon, we're gonna be in the 80s. Like a couple years, we're gonna be there. Math, fifth grade, and I think we're gonna blow this out of the water. Our goal is 55% this year, but if the checkpoint data is really good data, and I sure hope it is because that's what the state has given us to use, then we're gonna knock that out of the park in math. Same with sixth grade, our goal is 58%, and I think we're gonna kill it. Not that I wanna rush to get to the end of the year, but.
All right, Mr. Gaines had supervision tonight and he could not be here, so he put his plan, and shared his plan with me. You can just see here, his team that he works with on his committee, the three areas that they look at for growth. In the first area, ELA achievement and growth, he says, just kind of summarize here, from 2019 to 24, the pass proficiency rate for both 7th and 8th grades combined was 53.55%, 10.55 higher than the state average. During the 24-25 school year, the pass proficiency rate for both 7th and 8th grades combined increased to 54%, 13.5% higher than the state average. Last year's 7th grade, this year's 8th grade, they had a 56% pass rate, which the state average was 38% for ELA. Increased 10% from the previous year and was 18% above that state average. This year's 9th grade, so last year's 8th grade, had a 52% pass rate, where the state average was 43%. It increased 1% from the previous year and 9% above the state average. So they continue to strive for at least 70%. That's their goal by the 27-28 school year. So math achievement from 2019 to 24, pass proficiency rate for both 7th and 8th grades combined was 39.8% average, which is 7.6% higher than the state average. During the 24-25 school year, both grades, 7th and 8th grade for math, their pass proficiency rate was 42%, which is 6.5% higher than the state average. Last year's 7th grade, this year's 8th grade, they had a 35% pass rate. State average was 36%. Which it decreased from the 15% from the previous year and just 1% below the state average. We kind of noticed a correlation there with, for the 2 years in a row, at 6th grade level and 7th grade level, two of our grades had the same teacher. Did really well at 6th grade level, came to 7th grade level, did not do so well. So what we feel like is happening is there's a change between that 6th grade test and that 7th grade test. And somehow changing from our previous math curriculum in 6th grade to our 7th and 8th grade math curriculum, there was something missed there. So what we're hoping is basically this year with having a uniform math curriculum with K through 12, those gaps will be diminished with the scope and sequence of those. So 8th grade for which is this year's ninth graders. They had a 49% pass rate. State average is 35%, increased 12% from the previous year. And then the last thing, attendance. They are looking at 97% by 2025. I think the last 4 years they've been about 94%. So it's consistently meeting the state average, but they're hoping to do a little bit better this school year. So, and we also included in there just kind of the graph that shows what we basically talked about in the ELA. One thing he did want me to mention, when you look at kind of where schools basically rate when it comes to iLearn, in 2024, Oak Hill Junior High our scores topped in the top 18% of all Indiana junior high schools in ELA, and that was public schools, so that he looked at. So if you correlate that, he said we were in the top 20. So. Any questions on that? I did let them know if you guys had questions for he or Mr. Smith that next month they could elaborate. We could pull this back up if we needed. Mr. Smith, here you can kind of see SAT math growth. This is really what prompted us to start looking at basically a math curriculum K-12. We saw that dip going from 6th grade to 7th grade, and then our SAT scores were not where we wanted them to be. So you can kind of see here, this year's seniors, so last year's juniors, when you look at their 10th grade PSAT, which is their practice test, and then you look at where they scored in their SAT, it took a decrease. So that's obviously not the direction we want to go. So like I said, that is kind of our goal for this year with the new math curriculum. And I have not, my child would be part of the new math at the high school level, but would be part of the new math curriculum at the junior high level. And I've not heard any complaints. So either they don't realize it, which that's probably the case, or what. ELA growth, same thing as we kind of take a look here. It's much better than our math, which obviously is a positive. So the past 4 years, there's been a positive growth. Class of 2026 scored higher than the state local averages. So you can see there, it continues to go up, and that's obviously what we want. Strength and diploma, we've had a lot of diploma changes over the last few years. From basically 2018 to 24, the average diploma strength for us was 82.6%. For 2025, they exceeded that average by 5.8%. So you can see there, our highest we had was in 24 at 90%. So the goal at the end is 89% at the end of the 26-27 school year. And then attendance is a big one for us at the high school. While I feel like we're seeing tremendous gains at the elementary, the junior high and high school, junior high is still really good. But we see that drop off a little bit at high school for a variety of reasons. I'm sure you guys know and remember those days. So that has been a big priority for us. We've actually seen that drop over the last few years. So that has been a big one for us. And I don't know if you've got any phone calls, but I got phone calls at the end of last year when Mr. Edwards contacted families letting them know that they've exceeded their attendance and they wouldn't be able to come back. That I don't think parents thought we were serious about it, but they have to understand that attending school is as important as it's their job right now. So we're just trying to maybe put a little teeth in that at the high school level too, and kind of making it how badly do you want to be here,
Yeah, because that's a pretty precipitous drop there.
Oh, it's terrible, yeah. So I also think this is coming from the state too. So I think if you looked at our data, compared it to them, I do think there'd be a difference there because it seems like, I don't always feel like the state is as accurate as maybe ours would be doing it just in-house. Because it has to do with coding and all of that, so. Graduation rate, there you can see kind of where we're at. The average graduation rate from 2017 to 24 was 94.25%. The 2025 graduation rate exceeded that average. Our best ones, you can see there, 21 was 98%, 23 was 98%. So hopefully, we can continue to work to get back to that too. So that is all for the high school. The agenda. ADM, I shared with you as we've kind of gone and over the last month that we've been tracking this. We came in higher than I last shared with you, but lower than last year by about 30 students. Our graduating class last year was 142. Our kindergartners coming in are 101. 101, yes. So right there, I feel like, we got a little bit behind just when you look at that. So 30 students down, when you look at those that have come and gone, it's not where we want to be. So hopefully we can continue to maintain that. The next ADM count is in February. So I feel like we have, I know at the high school or the junior high level, we got a couple students since count day. I don't know about your guys's. Not yet. Count day. Yeah.
I had one try to come back, but
We've had, I will say, a handful of that. And right now, we have middle of the semester transfers. We are not allowing until Christmas time to make that jump back if they are doing well at their other school. But we've had some that have left that have already wanted to come back. So we asked them to, reapply at Christmas time. So, last thing on the agenda. So I guess we really saved the best for last, Mr. Pond. So would you like to give us an update on the junior high roof, pool dehumidification system, and elementary playgrounds? Yeah, you better.
Put you up with celebrations next time, that way you can leave early.
We ask you to keep your comments to 3 minutes.
Yeah.
I think it's fine that we wait till
So our bus accident simulation obviously didn't happen. A lot of the first responders were still at the accident scene. So we just felt like, in good taste to end it right there. We wanted to go, we still learned some things in the process. I've learned some things. It is canceled, but I think it's canceled. It's more suspended indefinitely. Because we still would like to do it in the future, but I think we're going to make some changes. We're obviously going to involve Andy a lot earlier, and then also the drama department over at CSA. They said that they would let them know in enough time that they would also come and participate. So we still want that learning experience for us, the bus drivers, and also for our staff with reunification, because we've not had anything like this. So I know in transportation, more students die in transportation accidents than any other school, thinking about school shootings, fires. Obviously, we've not lost anybody in a fire for years. I can't even think of the last time there was someone lost in a fire. So it is important. So I think we're gonna come back to it. I would like to come back to it, and maybe next year though. So that's the bus accident simulation. We do have the high school railing for the new sidewalk from the upper lot to the lower lot. We were installing that today. He felt like he could get most of it done today. I haven't looked at it yet since I talked to him this morning. So I don't know how far
Good
it got.
this afternoon, I drove.
Was it up this afternoon? He said that there's always tweaks.
Sure.
So I don't know if he got it completed yet. I'll check on it tomorrow morning, but hopefully we'll have kids be able to walk down it tomorrow, or at least Wednesday. So, next thing is, we're still losing a lot of water in the pool. So we're using a lot of chemicals, we're spending a lot of money on chemicals. We try to obviously get in there and grout, which the grout is completely gone in the pool, especially inside the pool. So we thought we were losing some water that way, and it did help, but we're still losing some water in some serious way. So we've got a guy coming in that's gonna dive down and use some sort of water coloring that, and some of you may have had this done your pool, but he puts it down there and he can trace where the water, where the leak is at. So we're gonna have to see if we can find where that is. Otherwise, I mean, we're gonna run out of money trying to keep this pool going. So
You should watch the Facebook reels, the pool guy.
the pool guy, is
He
it on
does
there? Yeah.
That's how I
So-
watched him fix a lot of pool leaks.
Yeah, I'll tell you, if we can figure out what it is, I mean, our chemicals are just outrageous.
I'm
So
sure it's like, what's TikTok?
Facebook Reels, is that what you're talking
Yeah.
about?
Oh,
These were on Facebook reels.
Oh, Facebook, group,
Yeah.
sorry, I
Yeah.
thought you said
Yeah.
TikTok.
I watched him fix a lot of pools. It's like, you know, when people watch them dig over, over in one of those third world countries. I don't know. That's how I like
You look cool.
dive into these pools. I don't know why.
I like watching shoe shine videos, so you know, we all got our.
Yeah.
If you watch one though, that's all you're gonna see, so.
Yeah. So now, yeah, I watch them fix pools all the time.
You could dive down there.
I
You
I
good?
could, I wasn't
You
terrified.
saves a lot of money.
Yeah.
So we've got also, and I mentioned this before too, we've got new lights going in the pool, that have been comped, so we don't have to pay for those. That was because of an improper install, so we're getting brand new lights there. It's actually gonna be less lights. They're higher wattage, or they're lower wattage, higher lumens, so we're gonna save some money overall as far as, the amount of electrical that's used. We've got our lights going in the cafeteria. All this is being done on fall break. So lights in the pool is going in fall break, lights in the cafeteria that's also comped for free. Those will be going in. That'll be over fall break too. The pool guys coming in over fall breaks, but it'll be a fall break thing.
Would you like this video?
I'll say video of that.
Yeah. I mean, I could go in your video and send it to you. I mean, you know. you can-
Put Oak Hill on the map on Facebook.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll get some more students
Right.
that want to do pool stuff.
So I know Dawn can speak to this too. She's pretty excited about it. I think I got a hallelujah earlier today.
Praise the Lord.
Oh, it was a praise, I thought it
Praise
was a
the Lord.
hallelujah. So it's in the same realm.
It was both. Hallelujah,
So
praise
we've
the
got
Lord.
our guys over at Swayze starting outside on the playgrounds.
Only 2 weeks later than what we thought.
They dug a hole,
Yeah.
let's not get too excited.
So bleeding is seeing, so I went over there, I did actually see it, so.
She had PTSD from the gym.
Yeah, she's like, this is the gym all over again.
Yeah. Yeah. So we're finally moving on that. We've got some piles of dirt there. Of course, piles of dirt near a residential area is like gravity to kids. I mean, they see piles of dirt. So she texted me earlier and said, you know, we may need to do something about that because there's somebody out there bench pressing, what'd you say, metal?
I think it's parts of the swing. that they
Parts of the
ripped out.
swing. So the problem is we can't station a guard out there on that lane. We can tell them, you know, that it's there, please keep them off. We can put the caution tape there. But as you can see, and Sherry could probably notice this, there's kids walking up and down the sidewalk going up to the upper parking lot of high school that shouldn't be, because we have tape around, they just step over it and they use the steps anyway. But so anyway, yeah, so the playground stuff has started. I wanted to mention this while Skillman was here, but he's gone. We got the cap coming to the junior high finally Wednesday. Should have been in
Well, I'll
July.
believe that when I see it.
Right. So we did get an email confirming that. So it's supposed to be Wednesday, but we'll
Hinshaw Roofing was supposed to have that in, and I say that loud enough that hopefully, We're supposed to have that in the first week of September, is my understanding.
Well, it was supposed to be done by the end of July. The cap
Well,
was supposed to be
remember they
done, and then
told
they
us
moved it.
because they
Yeah.
moved it back,
Right.
that they had to wait 3 weeks for that to come in. So it was gonna be the beginning of September, and Hinshaw Roofing said that it should be in by then, and we are into October now, and I don't see a cap in sight. So I'm hoping
Do you
by
want to send
tomorrow?
them the link,
Sure.
The link to what?
this live stream?
Oh.
I forgot that was doing that.
Well, but I can only hope that they can complete the project tomorrow, like it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
Had been done earlier, so it's been a little frustrating, let's not lie.
Yeah, we've got big muscles around here. We're not afraid to say it in public. I say it. to
No,
them.
no,
So,
not
yeah,
yet.
let's get
It's
started.
wonderful. I love it.
Yeah, we love to let them know. So now, yeah, we're moving forward on that. Wednesday is the date, so we'll see. There was some insulation that still needed to be done on the dehumidifier around some of the pipes. It's not affecting anything. It really doesn't do anything. You lose a little bit of BTUs there, but nothing noticeable. So that insulation needs to be done. They're gonna come and take care of that.
And the
Supposed to
pool
be this
does
week.
feel much better, less humid, more
Oh,
controlled.
it's
night and day.
It's night and day. I mean,
Like, I used to leave
you
there
walk in
like
and
sweating.
it feels comfortable. Yeah, I mean, it's still hot.
It's warm,
sure.
but it's not like, I felt like I would go into like a sauna.
You're
And then,
drenched,
yeah, I'm like, at least maybe my pores were.
The amount of damage that was done on just the surrounding structure,
Yeah, that's.
was what was killing us. I mean, so now that we've got it taken care of, we've got it repainted and stuff.
Is-
So
Their concern with the damage having been done, I know up in the rafters, do we need to look at getting that part of the building tuck pointed? Do we need to bump that up? Was it damaging the
I'm glad you
exterior?
brought up tuck pointing, because that's
Oh,
one of the things that we would like to add in at some point. I mean, it looks bad. It looks bad. But, I mean, I would love to tuck point the whole building.
Sure.
Because there's a lot of places that really need it. But it's not real high on the agenda. I mean, it's not gonna fall down around us, but.
Okay, I wanted to make sure with that.
Nothing unsafe.
Okay,
Nothing else. And if I did find something unsafe, we would deal with that area.
Sure. Sure.
When did we initially put the dehumidification system in there? Because I remember back when I was in school, it was, like you were mentioning, you walked in there, you were instantly dripping in sweat. I mean, there were wrestlers running with trash bags on, trying to drop weight for the meet that night.
They have, so there was one, like if you go into the upper gym, and there's like a storage area back there, right off the back, it's got double doors. There's a back section that goes down and takes you outside next to where the dock is, right? There's that storage right there. There was a unit in there that ran that. And that was, I think that was when I was there, back in 89 to 91, 88 to 91. That was in there, and I remember hearing it running up in the upper gym. You could hear it running because it was so loud. And I never felt like it was ever comfortable in the pool. So that pool area has probably had damage done to it from the moment it was built, And then when the new one, I want to say the new one, the last one that we just took out, that one that I can never remember ever ran right either. And you guys put a bunch of money into it to get the new compressors going, and the big thing with that.
Put Band-Aids on something that should
Right.
have been replaced then.
Right, so hopefully with this total system change out and the new automated logic, the control system that he talked a little bit about, that we want school-wide, we can see in real time when the temperature changes, when the humidity changes, when the CO2 levels change, see it like that, and we can do something. So now, so hopefully that's really gonna help us. Another thing we've got coming up, and I talked to Sherry about this, was we have a lot of problems with our electrical in the junior high. A lot of problems. And it's affecting our events, it's affecting our lights, it's affecting everything. And I know Chris sees the money flying out the window. We're making some headway. I think we've got the solar field now on the up and up. They've got all the inverters changed. They've got the surge protectors on there that should have been on there from the moment the thing was built. Because anytime there's static electricity from, things blowing around out there, it creates static electricity. All those surges come right into the building. Without surge protectors, there's nothing stopping it. Surge protectors are in now, inverters are in now, everything's working, communications up. But we're still having problems with mice getting into the units. So we're still working through that. But the electrical from City Power, from AEP, has been a problem. They found out through a couple different companies that they subcontracted to. One of them was AMP, and the other one was Ashland. They came in, and what we found is that we were getting things that were called blinks, to where the power would shut off. You would notice it in the building because you may just see just a little flash. But there were times that it was staying off longer than it should have. And when we had monitors hooked up, monitors wouldn't catch it, wouldn't see it, because it wasn't set up to monitor that. It was set up to see a voltage rise and a voltage decrease. And it was also set up to check our power factor, how much energy we had coming in and how much we were using. So it wasn't seeing it. But they were seeing it on their end. Didn't say anything. Well, the two people that showed up from AMP or from Ashland were friends of mine. So when I seen them out there, I went up and said, "What are you guys doing?" "Well, we're here to check on your blinks." "Blinks? What are you talking about, blinks?" "Well, you've had 700 blinks in the past 2 months, more than anybody else. Are you having any problems in the junior high?" I was like, "Are you kidding? How much time you got? Have a seat, and I'll show you. I'll take you for a walk and show you all the compressors we got sitting in there now that we've lost, all the motors that we've lost." I'm not saying it's you guys. Could have been the solar field. But there's a combination of problems that's happening from both. Ant told me that they feel like there was a bad neutral that's coming into our junior high. Ashland said we couldn't find that. So now we've got a shutdown happening over fall break for 2 hours. AEP has sent their top dog, Joby Gibbons. He is over he's over service for the entire state of Indiana. He's coming along with Aaron Euler, who is our local representative. He's in Sweden. They're going to be here for those 2 hours, and they're going to do some more testing to find out what's going on. Needless to say, someone at some point is going to have to sign a check for the amount of stuff that we've lost at some point. So, and I hope they're listening too, because they need to know.
Well, and I think the frustrating part about this, and I appreciate Troy's being a bulldog here with this, because he kept getting, well, it's not us, it's them, it's not them, back, they're basically pointing fingers at one another, and it just kind of came down to it, and he's like, okay, he's like, then we will sue both of you, and then you guys can figure out what's going on. And I think it took that to be like, okay, you guys they have a lot of issues going on here. I don't know if they didn't believe us. I don't know if they thought, I don't know what they thought, but like we are spending thousands of dollars a month on new compressors, new motors, and I mean, and that's what I'm saying. I don't understand why they didn't take this seriously. Because how long have you been working on this? 2 years?
Well, since I've been here,
Yeah.
since I'm an electrician by trade, so my ears perked up immediately when I came here. I'm like,
And the size
what
of
are
the
we
junior
losing?
high.
Like,
Yeah.
what? We're losing this much stuff? Like the lights are blinking. I mean, we were losing emergency lights. We're losing around the natatorium. Come to find out that the stuff that we were losing was all at the junior high power, and we're losing nothing at the high school. So I mean, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure out something's happening in the junior high. And I'm just an old lady sitting in the chair. I don't know anything. All I know is I'm spending a lot of money for equipment. And everywhere I've ever been before this, we've never spent this kind of money. So somebody's got to figure out what's going on. I mean, and that's why we kept doing this power monitoring. I bought my own power monitor, did my own monitoring, and they were showing a few voltage differences. But what we found out, we think we're narrowing it down to 2018, 2019, there was a change out of a transformer where We took the transformer that was down underneath the dock and moved it outside. It was a new transformer. That's when we think that it's going to. That's where our spidey senses are telling us it's going to. If we can do some more investigation and try to figure out maybe that's where it's going to. But if that's the case, then it's on AEP, you know. But that doesn't exonerate everything that's happened with the solar field, because all those surges and everything from out there were still coming into the building, which shouldn't have happened. So what we're going to do is when Skillman and Gibraltar with the new HVAC system come in, we're going to add what they're called capacitors. They're main capacitors, because you've got a power factor coming in. I don't want to bore everybody with this, but the power company has to supply you with a certain amount of power. Because if they don't, and you exceed that power, they shut you off. Well, you needed 50 kWs, you're using 60. They shut you down because everybody else around you, we got to keep them lit too. So then they do a thing where they come in and check, see what you need and how much you're using. If you don't use that, then you're still paying for it. Like, it's like getting a value meal. You can't send the fries back and get money for the fries. You're paying for the fries. So you're paying for what they're giving you. And we're not using the power that they have to supply us because we have peaks. We got to meet the peaks. So these capacitors will store that power and we can use it later. So that should save us money, and it will level off our powers so we don't have peaks and valleys. The other thing is too, I'm going to add surge protectors to the building itself to main power, regardless of what's happening out here. Because when we have super surges and super lows, these surge protectors will stop, just like the surge protectors plugged into your computers. It's going to be school-wide. So no matter what happens with anything outside of there, it won't affect us if surge protectors will grab it. So we'll stop losing stuff. So that's the things that we're trying to do right now. And we're going to do that. We're going to start with that as soon as I can. And Chris and I are going to talk about that. But yeah, it's going to help us in the long run.
Scott, you were talking about Band-Aids. This is how we stop leaking and stuff. We're going to spend.
You got to get to the root of the problem,
Yeah,
or you just.
It's going to hurt. We're going to spend money that we don't have, but we got to stop this.
Hopefully here within the next few months, we're going to have some big answers.
Good.
Any questions or anything before?
Thank you for all the work.
Sorry, I'm trying to keep that not so long. I know they're getting antsy over here.
I don't know what you're talking about. All right, anything else? Somebody said your Friday was time for my to leave.
I motion that we adjourn.
Second.
All in favor? All vote?
Ian, finally
Look, I missed Amari's first touchdown.
Oh, no. Seriously?
They made a play just for him this week.
Oh.
You know.
Well,
Thanks, Mark.